Hi, I'm Eric Dillon, the Senior Instructor with the JSOG Training Center in Fresno, California. And today we're going to talk a little bit about understanding airflow, and more specifically addressing that hot or cold room. Okay, so probably the first thing we want to talk about is the importance of air measurement. I always tell our students, we work on HVAC systems, right? The duct system and the airflow side are equally important to the overall operation of the system. It does us no good to put in a 20 SEER system if we can't deliver 20 SEERs of efficient cooling or heat, well, cooling in that case, to the occupied space. So some of you may want to laugh at me, but I've been doing this for a little while. As some of you might say I'm old school. This is an old water tube manometer, and probably the biggest use for this was just simply checking gas pressure, but more importantly for what we're talking about today, you could use this to check static pressure. And so I would encourage you, if you're not in the practice of checking static pressure, that's the first adaptation you want to make. Start learning static pressure, understanding what it is and what it can tell you when you get a reading. So just a mental note, one of the things that we encounter a lot is I'll have students that have had experience in the field, and they'll say, oh yeah, man, I had a 28-degree split across the evaporator coil. And of course they're always shocked when I tell them that's not a good thing. That means your coil's too cold. And it can be an indication of many things, one of those being an airflow problem. If you understand static pressure, the next step is to understand how to read airflow measurements. And we measure airflow in cubic feet per minute of air, or CFM. To do that, you do need some specialized measuring equipment, something like a flow capture hood like this, or a nice little unit like this that will measure velocity, CFM. There's several different measurements that this will do. Some of these tools are not necessarily inexpensive, but if you really want to do the best job you can and you want to up your game, you need to look into these tools, and not only looking into the tools, but understanding how they affect our system and how you can utilize it to troubleshoot and give a better performance to your customer. Okay, so when we talk specifically about that hot or cold room scenario, most technicians out there have had this experience, and most customers have complained about it at one time or another, and they've been told things like, it's just how it is, it requires a redesign, lots of different things. And the truth of the matter is it is something that we can address if you have a little bit of knowledge and the proper equipment to test that airflow. So what we have here is, this is out of one of our airflow classes, and this is just a basic floor plan that we work with. And in many cases what we'll do is we will have students draw on a duct system. And one of the most important things you want to notice here is our orientation, right? Our north, south, east, west. All right, but we have a basic duct system with our sizes, 8-inch here, 9-inch here. And one of the things we want to talk about is when you're dealing especially with tract homes, right, they will design a system or design a duct system and an HVAC system based on an orientation, usually the model. And as you all know, once we get into actual construction or they start building these, this floor plan will flip around and face different ways. So for instance, if I was designing this for this building here with this orientation, these are the duct sizes that I would have. If I was going to flip it around and now this is north instead of this on the previous one, you might see, for instance, that I've changed some duct sizes to reflect the load from the sun. It's really easy to understand, I think, once you realize that this does not happen, right? Whichever design is run with, if this house now faces this way or this way, right, those duct sizes are now not completely accurate. Usually not more than a size off, but as long as we understand that, we can go in and if we can measure, do our basic load calculations, and we can determine if we need to upsize a duct. And in some cases, it may be as simple as, if it's a cold room, for instance, and it has dampers, it may be as simple as just cranking on a damper a little bit. Hopefully this is clear enough. All right, so again, just kind of doing a side-by-side comparison. As you can see, we're north here, facing this way on this floor plan, and on this floor plan it's the exact opposite, or what we call a flop, and north is there. And you can see that our duct sizes, I'm going to use these two as an example, 9 and 8 here. Well, they changed to a 10 and a 9 here because we have a western exposure, so the sun is going to be beating down on this wall at the heat of the day, right? On this particular floor plan, that sun is beating down on this wall in the particular on the afternoon, and so you can see we were at a 7 and an 8 here because the sun is now on the other side, right? We reduce those, and so this is what we're talking about. This is a very common problem, and it's usually pretty easy to address if you just have the basic understanding of airflow and airflow measurement. Hopefully this helps give you a little bit better understanding of how we can address some of these hot and cold room issues. For this and any other training needs, please don't be afraid to look us up at the JSOG Training Center in Fresno, California, where we provide you with real-world experience for your real-world career.